Thank you, everybody, for attending. My name is Julie Rees, Chairperson for Community Board 8, Bronx. I'd just like to introduce the officers, Sergio Villareda, Margaret Della, our secretary to my left, Joy Campbell Privatere, District Manager Kara Farrell Lubin, Community Coordinator Art David Mozu, and our intern Jalen Adorno. I'd like to thank St. Stephen's United Methodist Church for hosting Community Board's 8 meeting this evening. And for informational purposes, our members who are excused with ADA attendance, should they choose, are Board Member Sylvia Alexander, Lee Chow, Mary Ellen Gibbs, Barbara Kale, Chuck Merla, Georgia Santiago, and Martin Volkov. If they are on Zoom, they must show their face. A board member marked absent in attendance via Zoom may be permitted to speak if called on, but does not have the privilege to vote should the vote take place. A reminder to board members, during the course of the board meeting, kindly raise your hand and wait to be acknowledged by the chairperson to speak. For guests on Zoom, please note only members of the public who have signed up to speak may address the board during the first portion of our board meeting. And also I'd like to welcome Councilmember and okay, so we'll go on to the public gallery session. Members of the public who have signed up to speak are allotted 3 minutes to address the board. Presentation will cover only matters of general interest and not of a personal matter. No more than 5 speakers may speak. This evening we have 2 speakers. Board members may ask questions of speaking. Board members may ask questions of speakers, during which time the 3-minute clock is stopped, but may not engage in discussions or statements during the time reserved for the gallery session. Anyone wishing to speak must call the board office in advance and state the topic to be covered. You may also call the board office to be put on our mailing list so that you may attend committee meetings as well. Our first speaker is Roxanne Tashjian. She's speaking in regards to her request for street co-naming of Manhattan University Parkway. Roxanne.
Good evening. My name is Roxanne Tashjian. I'm from Cullen and Dykman LLP. We represent Manhattan University, formerly known as Manhattan College. As of August 2024, the school has been accredited as a university and has since changed its name to Manhattan University. For that reason, the school has submitted its request, which is before you this evening, to co-name the street currently known as Manhattan College Parkway, Manhattan University Parkway, to acknowledge the school's new name and achievement. That's all I have. If there are any questions during the request, I'm happy to answer them.
Thank you, Roxanne. Are there any questions from the board members? I see no questions, so we go on to our next speaker, Angel Feliciano from West Hab. Angel, if you are on Zoom, kindly raise your hand. Okay, that ends our gallery session. We will go on to item number 3. Presentation of the Betty Campbell Adams Most Valuable Merchants Award. I'll call up on the Economic Development Committee Chairperson, Constance Barnes Watson.
Give me in advance. I had some dental work today, so I started for that's what it is. Each year, Community Board 8 proudly recognizes merchants who enhance economic growth, improve community relations, and increase civic participation in our community in the spirit and name of Mrs. Betty Campbell Adams. A native of Costa Rica and CUNY graduate, she embodied these traits with her commitment to this community. She faithfully continued to grow Lloyd's Clark Cake after her husband passed away. expanding the business, becoming a staple to those seeking community during the COVID-19 pandemic, adopting Van Cortlandt Park as an extension of her business. Mrs. Campbell Adams was an active board member of the Child Welfare Organizing Project, Wild Metro, KRVC, and the Riverdale Main Street Alliance. Brandon will be here eventually, her son, and I have Nick, former chair of the Economic Development Committee, to help me present the merchants with the awards. I'm gonna go a little out of order. Nick, would you come and do the honors? Okay. So,
Yeah.
pass it over to Nick, you can announce.
Hey. Oh, great. Yep, no, that's Mario. Okay, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am Nick Fazio, former chair and proud current member of the Economic Development Committee. Thank Chair Constance Barnes Watson for asking me to participate in the presentation. It's always an honor to be able to recognize businesses and individuals in the community that have such a long lasting impact. So thank you very much. Our first honoree this evening is Emiliano's Market, and Franca and Emiliano, if you don't know, recently opened their business and they took Riverdale by storm, and helping to share their traditional dishes, cultural products from Italy is really a treasure that we have here in the Bronx. And it's also, their recognition is also for their work in the community and support of various community organizations and local initiatives. So join me in celebrating Emiliano and Franca and their business in the I wanted to do that. I was gonna do that speech in Italian, but my fear was that I would ruin the Italian language, or as King Charles recently said, the language of Dante so horribly that I might not be invited back to the market. Is Mari here?
Yes, she's here.
Oh, all right. So our next honoree, again, is really a business that needs no introduction. Mario and Riverdale Avenue was really struggling with store vacancies and really needed some revitalization. He was willing to invest into our neighborhood. And he worked really hard to get not only his business going, but other businesses along that corridor. And if you haven't been down there recently, I encourage you to go because it is really thriving. And in large part, it is thanks to Mario. So in addition to all the things he's done in the community, supporting various community organizations and community initiatives and different groups that do work in the community, he's been a very successful entrepreneur, helping to create jobs, helping people in the neighborhood in various ways around the block, and new businesses and so forth. So please join me in honoring Mario for his career as well.
last year. You're about to be famous again.
Oh, man.
I got a video.
And our last, the ball, is he here from Leland's Deli? He's not here yet. He told me he was gonna come, maybe he just. But if not, we can present it. He's having a really hard time finding parking. So if you wanna hold off and wait, okay.
Thank you again to the Economic Development Committee and to the awardees. We congratulate you again. I'd like to thank the committee members, Chairperson Constance Barnes Watson, board members Nick Fazio, Julia Gomez, Angela Ortega, Cesar Tobar Acosta, Joe Towns, Karen Walker, and community member Ashley Medina. Thank you for the work that you put into this committee. You were thoughtful and you did a very nice job in selecting wonderful people from the community. And again, thank you and congratulations to the awardees. And we'll do the third presentation, hopefully when he finds parking. Okay, so we'll move on to item number 4, report from the mayor's office, Alina Dow. Okay, we'll go straight to the report from the Brownsborough President's Office. Excuse me, Karen. So the people on Zoom.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. I'm not going to give a report because the borough president should be on her way and I'll let her do that. So thank you.
Thank you, Kira. And with that in mind, I would ask the awardees if you can give a few minutes when the borough president comes. I'm sure she would love to congratulate you and take a photo with you if you don't mind waiting. Thank you. Okay, the report from the 50th precinct.
There we go. You guys hear me? I don't know how to turn my camera on. Oh, I see you now. Are you guys ready for the numbers?
We're ready. Go ahead.
All right, so for the 28th day, we are up 1 in murders. I'm sure you guys all heard about the homicide at University between Eames and West Cambridge Road. We are down 40% in robberies, 6 versus 10. We are down 10.5% in felony assaults, 17 this period for the 28-day period in 2025 versus 19. We are down 10% in burglaries, 9 versus 10. We had a spike in grand larcenies, 69 versus 54, which is a 27.8% hike. And then grand larceny auto, we are up 23.5%, 21 versus 17. So for 7 major index crime overall, we are up for the 28-day period, 124 versus 112, which is 10.7%. We are still down year to date, 15%. No hate crimes for the period, and our felony assault arrests are up 17 versus 11, so up 54.5%. And I think our hike in grand larcenies is we're still carrying a couple from a couple weeks ago. There was a super over on Heath Avenue that was illegally renting apartments that he didn't have the authority to rent to people, and he was basically scamming them out of thousands of dollars. And he did it, I think we were up to like 25, 26 or 27 or so. He was arrested on like 12, 13 of them. He then fled to the 4-4 precinct somewhere. But I think his grand larceny unit is taking that. So we're probably still carrying a couple of those, causing our spike. That's it.
Thank you. Any questions from the board? We'll take Laura and then Karen.
Hi, good evening. We have a great concern in North Riverdale about 2 illegal car washes that have sprung up within the past 2 weeks First there was one, now there's two. They're located at 6393 Broadway and 6469 Broadway. That's the vicinity of the Van Cortlandt Motel. Even when they are not there, which is rare, the water is flowing out of the hydrant. So it's a big concern to us. 311 calls have been made, and I know we've notified different officials. And the 50th, would you happen to have any update on status of that?
I'm not, can you hear me? Nick, am I coming through? All right. So I wasn't aware of those two that you just named, but I was made aware last week of 6683 Broadway. I just added those other two to my list. What we can do with those is we can go, obviously we can run their car. If it's not legit, we'll the plate doesn't come back to the car, we can violation tow it. Certain parking violations, we can violation tow it as well. We can issue them a C summons for unlicensed general vendor, and if we can issue them the summons, we can take whether they have a generator or a power washer or both. We can take them and voucher them as arrest evidence. So since I was made aware last week of the 16683, I keep making trips up there. But this was on Thursday I was made aware. And when I left the meeting Thursday, I went up there, but it started to rain. So they had already packed it up. I then went up Friday. It was raining, so they weren't out there again. Then I was off until today, and today it's raining again. So I haven't made a trip up there yet to see if they're there, but I'm assuming they're not because of the rain. But we're going to go do what I just mentioned. We're going to go take some of their power washers and issue them some C-sums as soon as we see them out there, as soon as we get some sun.
No, fantastic. They were out on the weekend when you were off. I get the emails. So thank you. I know you'll stay on top of it. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. The only thing is that I'm not going to be in all of next week, but I'm going to put my guys on it for sure. But if I recall, the weather report looks like rain today, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So we will get to it when they come back out.
Perfect. Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you. Well, there's another question. Karen, we have a question. Excuse me, for the people that are seating, is there a microphone on either side? Okay.
You can't see my picture, right?
You can give it out to Laura on that side. This way there's a microphone on each side and we can keep the meeting moving. Go ahead, Karen.
It was the same issue, so there's really no additional question. I'm happy to hear that you are taking all of those steps. They were out yesterday, so they do come out on days when it's going to rain in forecast. It may not be raining at the actual time, so please send officers, and in fact, some officers passed while they were out and don't stop. And so they're there pretty much every day, even on rain days. Thank you.
Thank you. Karen? One more question, Lieutenant.
Yeah, this is just a comment, but they're around the reservoir and underneath the Ford train as well. There's probably between 6 and 8, I would say. And they do pop up in the spring.
There's a lot of them. We're gonna start with the ones on Broadway because that's where I got my first complaint. I'm just seeing some messages here that they were actually out today. It was before I actually got in. The one by the reservoir, if you're talking about Reservoir Avenue in Sedgwick, I think it's a green van. That one's actually legal. It's the only legal one that I'm aware of, but we'll keep an eye on all of them, and we'll also hit that one up as well.
Thank you. Are there any other questions?
How am I
Thank
doing?
you. Okay, so we're going to next call on our elected officials, and we welcome our Vice Chair, Sergio Valdez. Our elected official, Councilmember Dinowitz.
I don't know, I thought sitting next to the chair was the right seat. First I impersonated Carmen De La Rosa. Now I'm impersonating Borough President Gibson. Good evening, everyone. While we have the cops on, just talking about Goulden Avenue, and everyone here knows I did a ride along with Bronx Borough Command. They cleaned up Goulden Avenue a little, but for everyone here to share my beliefs with the PD and the community, unless there are consistent enforcement efforts made, The cars keep coming back, and that's a street with car carriers. It's a street with a weird, disgusting double-decker yellow bus. People are living there, so operations there need to be done as well and on a consistent basis. A few updates from the community. If y'all know, last year, one of the big wins we got was funding for a brand new outdoor sports facility for the JFK campus. And this was made possible because myself, Councilmember De La Rosa, Borough President Gibson, and the Speaker of the City Council pooled our resources to secure $5 million. And what did that get us? It got us a brand new football field at JFK, brand new softball, baseball fields, redid the tennis courts, along with a beautiful new giant TV scoreboard and lighting. It's like state of the art. It is nothing less than what our Bronx kids deserve. And last week we had the ribbon cutting. It was a beautiful ceremony. We had the ribbon cutting there. I'm just so excited for it because this is what the city budget's about. It's about making investments. And I think everyone here knows I like the investments for our kids. So we're doing the budget now. We're working on our budget negotiations. I have my Google form where you could submit your budget feedback, what you want to see prioritized in the budget, both locally and in our city budget. So please share that with me. A few pieces of legislation that we passed recently. One dealt with brush fires. I think many of you are aware, just a few months back, we had a number of brush fires throughout the city, including at Van Cortlandt Park and at Inwood Hill Park, which is very close to the district. It's almost like Lower Bronx. Might as well be the Bronx, so close. And so we passed legislation which said the parks need to come up with a plan to mitigate these fires and what to do in those emergencies. I think more closer to home, I think for a lot of homeowners, co-op shareholders, was we passed legislation dealing with local law 11. If any of you live in a co-op, you're probably, I saw the eye roll. You're probably intimately familiar with local law 11, which is an important law. It says you have to do facade inspections so bricks don't fall on people's heads. But it's every 5 years the clock starts, and then 5 years later you got to do this work again. And it's very expensive. And it may also not be necessary every 5 years. So we passed legislation which said it's going to be at least every 6 years, maybe as many as every 12 years. We're waiting for some reporting from the Department of Buildings before, through rulemaking, they'll determine how many years. But we're essentially extending the number of years between when you would start work and when you would do the work again, which is going to save our buildings a lot of money, all while keeping us safe. The DOT, we've been focusing on some areas in the district to get some speed humps. We met with the DOT about the North Riverdale area where there was that hit and run a couple of months back, and we had the press conference. I know members of CB8 were there. We're working on that, as well as in the Kingsbridge Heights area, like Van Cortlandt Village, a number of areas for speed calming measures, which I met with the DOT about Friday. So when I get an update, I will update you. Lastly, community events. We had 2 great shredding events in Community Board 8. I always joke, we're saving you money on Local Law 97. We're trying to reduce costs. We're keeping people in their homes in my office. But the number one thing people actually care about is the giant shredding truck. Like, I know it's important. So we had 2 events. We had one at the office of Assemblyman Dinowitz, and we had one in Riverdale. Next one's in Woodlawn, which is outside CB8, of course. Last event coming up, or the first last event coming up, our movie series. Our first one is going to be May 24th at Seton Park. And I don't know if you're all as excited as I am. It's Wicked. You know that very, 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 very popular movie? Because it was very good. May 24th starts at sundown at Seton Park, the Wicked, the movie musical, which was fantastic. I encourage you all to attend. And of course, sign up for my newsletter, ericdinowitz.nyc/newsletter, to get all of this information in your email inbox. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember. There's a question for Matt Green.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you mentioned local law 11. I just want to try to clarify from my mind. 5 years, and then they restart it again, and if you're gonna make it less of a time limit, when is it not gonna be up? So they can, even if there's a certain time period for when scaffolds have to be up, they keep them up the entire time, and then it's time to restart it. But they never really come down in a lot of these instances. And Amalgamated is a good example of where they have the parking garages. They're up forever. It's like a permanent fixture there.
I'm not sure that it deals with local law 11 and there's other work being done. It might, but that's what we're trying to address with this law, to say it doesn't have to start and stop the clock every 5 years, at least 6 years. But what we said to the legislation is we're trying to find the right balance between the safety and like being reasonable and saving costs. So you're going to see the scaffolding up less often in the buildings that are doing the work. But throughout the city, there are also buildings and businesses doing the wrong thing. They just leave the scaffolding up because whatever, right? Which is not what the Amalgamated is doing. Like, and everyone who lives here, the building's probably doing the right thing. They're doing the work and they're getting a scaffold down as soon as possible. But to address the people, the landlords or the businesses doing the wrong thing, we said instead of certifying your scaffolding every year, you'll just certify it every 90 days, that you're actually doing work, that you're not just leaving it up because you don't care about the neighborhood. No one wants to see the scaffolding up who lives in the neighborhood. No one who goes and shops in the neighborhood wants to see the scaffolding. So we're reducing we're extending the window rather, but between local law 11 work. We are saying that the people doing the wrong thing have to recertify more often. And we're also saying in a different piece of legislation, it doesn't have to be hunter green. It could be different colors. It doesn't have to look ugly. Like we don't have to have an ugly city.
Yeah.
I'm well, how are you? That's okay, I'm standing up for both of us.
I'm sorry, can you hear me now? Okay, my question is related to speed bumps and a need for speed bumps in a certain part of the neighborhood. I'm not gonna name names, but if there's some bad tenants who are big major institutions in the community and school buses come through particular streets and you would think because they're school buses, they wouldn't come through at the rate that they do. They come through very aggressively. They also line up one behind the other so that no cars can get through because the school buses are in a row and it's become a real problem. I've lived in the community for well over 30 years and I've seen it evolve in a negative way.
Regarding the speed humps, the DOT knows what a big fan I am of them because you can slow down traffic. No one's gonna ruin their car by speeding over a speed hump and you don't even have to remove parking to do it. So if you want to give me the locations, we can request the study there. As far as the buses, I think that also depends on the area. And I know it's come before the desk of this board about the way like Horace Mann, for example, lines up, where they line up, and it's come before here, you know, what the no parking signs are. Are they allowed to put no parking signs there? All those questions have come up before the board before. So someone with institutional knowledge may be able to do that. What's the point of doing this spot? So no, it's fine. So email me privately, my palm cards on the table, and you have my cell, so you can also text me. But email me officially and let me know the locations, and we will request.
Okay, thank you.
If I had a truck, I would put in the speed bumps. I know you had a question.
Hi, I'm going back to local law 11, because as much as, 6 years might save you a year, it's taking sometimes up to years to complete the work, which I feel like, one is like, how do we control the cost of compliance, right, in general, right? Whereas it's like, we're just a building of, we finally got to own a little bit of New York and we've lived here for generations. And then it's like we're taken to the laundry or whatever people say, I don't know, because it costs millions of dollars, right? So I've seen buildings go up within a year, but then I haven't seen something as simple as like a facade inspection happen in a year. Like how, what's the plan to make that faster and make that more affordable, because compliance shouldn't be costly for co-ops.
I agree. So just a few areas. One is, I believe, I have to check, I believe like the clock starts when the work starts and then 5 years after that, they do the work again. I think what we did in legislation and we provide legislative updates, by the way, to all the community boards, so any of that, but I don't know if they want to forward it. Every time we do a stated meeting, we send the community board all the bills that were passed. I believe the law says a couple things, which is that the clock doesn't start when the clock doesn't reset when the work starts, which is what I think it is now. I think the clock resets when the work's done. So it is a little extra time. The second is it's not 6 years, it's at least 6 years. What the law says is between 6 and 12, and that's going to depend on some of the reporting and studying from the Department of Buildings. Now, regarding the compliance, this was at the testimony of the last hearing. I did grill the DOB about the inspectors and inspectors coming in a timely fashion. Because what some of the buildings have also complained to me about is, they do the work, a DOB inspector comes and says, oh, I see a little thing there, they go back and do the work. And they gotta wait weeks and weeks for another inspector to come. So we're on top of the agency for that. And we in the city council, this is where the budget comes in. We also try to fund those inspectors. I believe we allocated funding for more inspectors a year or two ago, but I don't think OMB filled those positions. So that is the interplay between what we negotiate in the budget and the implementation of that law or of that budget with the executive, whose job it is to actually fill in those positions. I do want to add one thing I'm working on for some of our local laws. Local law 157 from 2016 requires natural gas detectors in every single apartment. However, they don't exist. Like, they're not available. There's one company in Japan that makes them. So I'm working with DOB and HPD now to push back that compliance deadline to say realistically, it is impossible to comply with this. So buildings should not be fined for not complying. And the second thing I'm working on is saying, look, it's the first year for filing in Local Law 97, which is the Green New Deal of New York City. And if you just push back the filing deadline, not like changing the law, just push back the filing deadline a little because people are still figuring out how this law actually works. And the fines a lot, just push it back a little bit. So I'm working on those two things to make sure buildings aren't slammed. All these things, really good intention laws, really important laws, but all of them together makes life expensive. So I'm trying to, whether it's co-sponsoring legislation or work with the agencies to make them more reasonable in terms of enforcement of these rules. I am working to try to bring down those costs for you, and I guess all of you.
We have one last question.
Sure.
Last question on that point. In terms of making the agencies more reasonable, buildings that are doing the right thing oftentimes get penalized the most. And then you have buildings that aren't doing any of that have never put up scaffolding in a decade or more, and they just keep going about their business. What are you doing on enforcement and accountability for buildings that do not uphold their end? We just saw in Kingsbridge that there was a building transferred from the landlord to, I guess it's still pending, but had millions of dollars in fines, hundreds, almost 700 violations. What do you?
The one the city kind of took over, that one? Yeah.
But it's the same in Georgia, whatever.
Right, that was the first time that's been, was it me? Oh, yeah, smart. So I think that was the first time in ever, a decade, that they had ever done that. But when we get complaints to my office, we're on top of them. So when there was a building that a woman didn't have heat in her apartment a few months back, I went to the apartment, I was on the phone with the commissioner about those sorts of things. Regarding the takeover of building, I don't think it was the wrong move. If you can't safely, but this is the job of our agencies, right? The agency's job is to hold the buildings accountable. We hold the agencies accountable. It's one of the reasons, and I know I've mentioned it here a number of times, but it's one of the reasons that my reporting bill, my 311 satisfaction bill, I think is important for holding the agencies accountable. Because you can see by community district or by area, where are the areas where the 311 complaints are not being fulfilled. It's why we in the council pass these reporting bills. It's why we require them to be online so that we, in our oversight capacity, can hold the agencies accountable. But ultimately, the agencies have to be the ones to do the inspections. They are the ones who do the work. Thank you.
Thank you. Chuck just,
You want to get rid of these scaffolds after a period of time? Very easy. Do what you do. Require that all scaffolders, the owners, be licensed. B, you charge a fee for the erection of a scaffold, which fee gets doubled at the end of 6 months. And when it's up 7 months, it gets doubled again. You watch how fast it'll come down. It's as simple as that. And you save inspection time. True, the inspectors will make less money, but the fact is, the city of New York will either make money and you'll get rid of the scaffold.
Sounds like you speak from experience in housing in this city or something. I don't know.
Guarantee, if the guy has to pay an extra fee for keeping it up there, he's gonna be very fast to get it that out.
thank you. Thank you again for all your information. Okay, so, is any representative here from Council Member Brianna Sanchez or De La Rosa's office? If you are, please raise your hand. Okay, so we're going to go back to the presentations for the Economic Development Committee. I'll call Chairperson Constance Barnes Watson.
We have one more award, and Brandon Adams is here with Betty Campbell Adams, so he could just join us for this one. That'd be great.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, I'm sorry. Apologies for being late. I always look forward to this day. This is one of the first kind of posthumous, awards or naming things that my mom got. So it's really near and dear to my heart, at least, knowing how important community was to her and knowing what a staple she was to the community. This year specifically, the awardees are very near and dear to my heart. I'm a patron of all these places. Sorry for the ones that I missed earlier, but shout out to Liliano's, who I literally just had lunch there this afternoon, Salvatore's, and Lehman's as well. Again, just want to thank the community board for this great honor for naming it after my mother. This Saturday would have been her 70th birthday. So, she is definitely at the top of mind, and knowing how important community was to her, and, just being a merchant and a vessel for support for the community. So, I thank the board and I thank the awardees for, whether intentionally or not, kind of moving in her spirit. So thank you guys.
And so we have our final awardee. Nick, would you like to say a few words?
Thank you once again. And our final honoree this evening is Yuval Dekel of Liebman's Deli. Now, Liebman's needs no introduction, especially in terms of longevity. For generations, they have been an iconic business in the Bronx. And come on up. Iconic business in the Bronx, serving traditional Jewish cuisine, and in doing so, sharing and enriching our cultural diversity, and that is so amazing here in the Bronx. And his impact goes beyond just the deli counter. Yuval has supported and continues to support local community organizations. What struck me the most, or what stood out to me really, was the modesty by which Yuval goes about his giving. He never asks for recognition. He never asks for any attention. He just does it, which is a testament to the truest expression of his authenticity. So congratulations. Well deserved.
Yeah, we want to know.
Mario from Salvatore's and Franca, can you guys come up? We'll do one more photo shot. Thank you.
People are gonna rise. People are gonna control.
Yeah. Congratulations. Of course.
Okay, again, congratulations to all the awardees. So let's visit their establishment. Yeah. We're gonna move on to item number 8 for the elected officials. If there are any elected officials on Zoom or the representative, please raise your hand. And in the meantime, we'll take Dario Quinzat from Senator Jackson's office.
Good evening, everybody. Dario Quinta from State Senator Robert Jackson. Guess what? We passed the budget. Obviously, there's a lot of wins, especially for housing, health, education. Obviously, there's some things that did not pass, but there's always a lot more work to do. Our colleague in the Senate, Senator Rivera, obviously has other things to say also. And we're gonna have events, but for those that represent CBOs, our office is gonna reopen our portal for discretionary funding. If you're interested, the website is expense.senatorjackson.com. That's gonna be open probably on Friday. And for capital, if you're an eligible CBO, it's capital.senatorjackson.com. And I will send an email to the community board so they have that in writing. Thank you. And do you have any questions?
Thank you, Dario, from Senator Jackson's office. And now we have Flavia Salazar.
Thank you. Hi, good evening. My name is Flavia Salazar. I'm the Director of Strategy and Operations for the Office of Senator Rivera. I have a couple of flyers for you to scan our QR code, sign up for a newsletter. We have for Spanish updates. We have our WhatsApp channel. Please sign up, share weekly updates about legislation, events, or anything else that I might not get to share with you here. I wanted to give you an update about some events we've had in the past. If you missed any of our webinars, we had a tax filing information webinar. We had a Know Your Rights workshop for schools and families. and we had a homeownership 101 virtual training. If you missed it, that's okay. You can catch the recording on our Facebook page. We had over 400 community members attend the second annual Bronx Health Link Community Baby Shower in partnership with the Bronx President's Office and with the Health Care BC. On April 25th, the Senator Rivera hosted a meet and greet at Bronx House to discuss Medicaid, home care, food insecurity, and his legislative priorities. We had the IDNYC mobile van returned to the district office. Okay. One last thing, we have a free immigration assistance with NIMIC this Friday, and we have a free housing assistance with Bronx Housing next week. Call our office at 718-933-2034 to make appointments. And if you want legislative and budget items, just reach out to me. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, are there any elected officials online, Patty? Can you unmute? Go ahead, Joe.
Yes, Joseph McManus from Congressman Torres' office. If you have any federal issues, please email me, joseph.mcmanus@mail.house.gov. If you didn't get that, the board office has the information. The congressman partnered with Assemblyman Dinowitz and Councilmember Dinowitz to do the shredding events. And there's another one coming up this Saturday in Woodlawn from 9 to 12 o'clock in front of the library on Cantona Avenue. And I didn't get a chance, but just to wish all the mothers belated Mother's Day. I know I took care of my wife. I hope all you kids took care of your parents. Thank you and have a good evening.
Thank you. Okay, so we'll go into the next item. Item number 9, roll call, Margaret Della. Excuse me? Are there representatives from the DA's office or Assemblymember Dinowitz's office? Would you like to speak? You need to unmute yourself, please.
Hi, thank you.
Go ahead.
My name is Jeffrey Pena. I am a community engagement coordinator at the Bronx District Attorney's Office. Our office is hosting a youth summit for students ages 14 to 20 on this Saturday, May 17th, from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. The doors open at 8:30 a.m. It will take place at Monroe University at 2501 Jerome Avenue. We'll have speakers, interactive workshops, performances, food, music. Key topics will include youth and gun violence, teen dating violence prevention, and conflict resolution. So we'll have entertainment, giveaways, dialogue, workshops, and community building. So unfortunately, I can't share the flyer through Zoom, but I will email it to the board. And if anyone's interested, please reach out to the board. Thank you.
Okay, great, thank you. And there was someone else?
Yeah. Hi. I have very similar announcements to the councilman and the congressman. We had 2 very successful paper shredding events that already happened in front of our office and one in Riverdale. And we have our last one that's happening in Woodlawn this Saturday. And yeah, I just want to remind everyone that we have a free notary in our office Monday through Friday for all the office hours. So definitely come by and use that if you need a notary. Thank you.
Thank you. Any others, Artie? Okay, thank you. Okay, now we'll go on to item number 9. Roll call, Margaret Della.
Sylvia Alexander.
Here.
Debbie Allen. Constance Barnes Watson. Bob Bender.
Here.
Harold Blake. Joy Campbell Privateer. Sebastian Titolapoli. Lee Chong.
Present.
Dr. Wayne DeBeetham. Ingrid De Leon. Margaret Della present. Johanna Edmondson. Nicholas Fazio.
Here.
Stephen Crute. Marianne Gibbs. Dr. Julia Gomez. Edward Green. Emily Hausman. Rashida Hilliard. Barbara Kale.
Here.
Rabbi Kaplan. Charles Murdler.
Here.
Angel Ortega. Julie Reyes. Ariana Rivera. Daniel Rowan.
Here.
Georgia Santiago. Ramdat Singh. Jessica Sosa.
Here.
Boris Balter. Cesar Tovar Acosta, Jill Towns, Deborah Travis, Sergio Villaverde, Kevin Wade, Karen Walker, Martin Walpole.
Here.
Okay, we have a quorum. Thank you, Margaret. Moving on to item number 10, approval of board minutes for April 8th. Are there any comments or discussions? Make a motion to accept minutes? Okay. Any objections? Abstentions? So approved. Item number 11, discussion of the executive committee meeting minutes of April 2nd. Any discussion? Okay, so we're going to move on to item number 12, the treasurer's report.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Joy could not be here tonight, so I will try my best to give the report. If you look at the operating budget update, we have remaining 103,000. That's personnel services and also other than personnel services. Of those, 8,700 remaining in supplies, or total, I should say, of $15,902 in TPS. Just to note, I have been spending down a lot against that, so it'll look really different next time. We do have two addendums tonight to discuss. The addendum A, which is budget modification. We do want to make sure we can spend all the money that we have left in the budget. And there is one item, the general expenditures on addendum A, item 499, that is a holding item, so we have to move it out to spend it. So we're proposing a budget mod to move the $1,000 from there into our general supply category. So there is a resolution on that. The following table details the current operational budget and the budget modification necessary to properly reallocate funding to support the work of the board office. Whereas to support the work of the board office, a budget modification for FY25 has been prepared and is below. Be it resolved, Bronx Community Board 8 approves the budget modification in order to further support the work of the Community Board Office. Do I do a motion?
So moved.
Now we do the vote. Okay, is there anyone opposed to the resolution? Is there any abstentions? So moved, it's been approved. And then we also have a proposed budget for FY26. We did use the last few years, we compared to the budgets that we proposed. And if you look at the addendum B, it's showing that we are asking for a budget of $36,266. It is very similar to the last few years. And I guess I will ask if anyone has any questions or comments on the proposed budget. All right, seeing that there's no comments, I'm gonna just read the resolution. Based on the current needs of the office, the following budget is recommended for FY 2026 for Bronx Community Board 8 by the Treasurer and the Board Chair. Whereas the Treasurer and Chair of Bronx Community Board 8 prepared a projected operating budget for the board's expenses for FY 2026. Be it resolved that Community Board 8 approves the projected operating budget for FY 2026.
So moved.
Is there any abstentions to the proposed budget? Any opposed? So it is unanimously approved. Thank you. Are there any other questions for the Treasurer report?
Thank you. And now we have the honor of having our borough president, Ms. Vanessa Gibson. Welcome.
Good evening, everyone. So good to see you all. Good evening to all the members of Community Board 8, to our district manager, our board chair, to all of the executive members. It's so good to see everyone. Thank you for joining us at our monthly general board meeting. I'm your borough president, Vanessa Gibson. Always grateful to be here. It's always important for me to make sure I do my best to show up. We have 12 community boards across the borough and many overlap meetings, but I always try to make sure that if I'm not here, then my staff is definitely representing our office. So our Director of Community Boards, Kira Gannon, is here. And I want to say thank you, Kira, for leading our Community Boards unit instead of just Community Board 8. She now represents all 12. Thank you. Well, thank you, Community Board 8. I really appreciate it. And I know my colleague, Councilmember Eric Dinowitz, was here this evening, as well as elected official representatives. But I just wanted to come by and say thank you. Last week we had, I think it was last week. I don't know. I don't even know what today is. We had an amazing just community board recognition event at Split Rock. Many of you were able to attend, and we used to have it in August, but then many people said, oh, we're not around, we're on vacation, we're out of town. So we thought it would be really great if we had it during Bronx Week, which is our 13 days of recognizing all things Bronx. And we wanted to make sure we just took a moment to say thank you. We appreciate your partnership. We appreciate everything you do as members of our community board. It is because of your work, your commitment, that we are able to make a lot of recommendations on many of the land use applications, the ULURPs, and a lot of the capital projects that come to us as an administration that start with the community board. And so a lot of the work that you all do, whether it's a neighborhood rezoning, it's a capital project, it's a new initiative, a new partnership, it's budget. We're always talking about budget. I want to say thank you. A lot of the recommendations that we get from our boards do guide and drive our ultimate decision and recommendation. So I do want to say thank you for that. So I know you've had a very extensive meeting tonight. So I just wanted to go over a couple of things. As I said, it is Bronx Week. We're the only borough that has its own week dedicated to celebrating who we are. And because we're the Bronx, it's not just 7 days, it's 13 days. We started last week, May 5th, and the finale is this Sunday, May 18th. So we've had events celebrating veterans, small businesses, labor, our financial partners, many of our bankers. We had a bankers breakfast. We opened up with a press conference at the Bronx Museum. We have an event tomorrow with City College, which we work with students, and they are coming up with designs on the old Bronx courthouse that's at 163rd Street and 3rd Avenue, right behind Boricua College. And we're asking them to come up with a design of what the courthouse could look like. As you know, it's still been on sale, it's still vacant. And we're trying to see if we can work with the owner and come up with really amazing ideas on how to transform the old Bronx courthouse. We also have an event for centenarians, and we identify all of our older adults, our teenagers that are 90 years of age and older. And we have a wonderful event at Villa Barone, and we celebrate them. It's an amazing event, and it really is just a testament of who we are. Many of our centenarians have lived their entire life in the Bronx, and I'm proud to stand on their shoulders as borough president. So that's a wonderful event. We had to reschedule the silent disco at Woodlawn from last Friday to this Friday, May 17th. On Saturday, we have our induction ceremony. We identified 4 native Bronxites who will be inducted into the Walk of Fame. And that's like our Hollywood Walk of Fame, except it's not on the floor, it's on a DOT pole. And it is a recognition of many Bronxites who paved the way, who have made incredible contributions to our borough. And every year we induct about 4 to 5. And each year, what we've done is added a new component called People's Choice Award. So we ask residents to weigh in on their favorite person in a particular area, and the person with the greatest number of votes wins and becomes the People's Choice inductee. So the first year was education. One of our principals in District 9 was the winner. Last year it was health.
one of our FQHCs, Urban Health, the president, Paloma Hernandez, was the inductee, and this year, Media and Arts. And the person is our very own, the host of Bronx Talk on BronxNet Television, Gary Axelbank. He is the new Walk of Fame inductee for this year in Media and Arts. So we will have an official ceremony on Saturday morning at Borough Hall to unveil the sign. And then Saturday night is our Bronx Ball. We are giving the key to the borough to Derek D. Nice. Do you remember during the pandemic, he started Club Quarantine? So we were all dancing in our house. So he is getting the key to the borough. He's from High Ridge. And we are giving the Tourism Award to the New York Yankees for their partnership. And Sunday is our finale. We have a big children's parade along Marshall Parkway, along with our concert and our festival all along Marshall Parkway. So everything that I've talked about is in this calendar of events, as well as the website is www.ilovethebronx.com. Simple website. In addition, we've been very proud to release this senior resource guide. So if anyone knows a teenager, an older adult, this is a helpful guide in English and in Espanol, and it provides services for older adults, social services, housing, any of the programs like SCREE or DREE that many of our older adults could be eligible for. So this is very popular. A lot of people like it. And we're also looking to produce a resource guide for people with disabilities and veterans. We don't do enough to take care of veterans, and we want to make sure that we really honor veterans in a real way. I know Councilmember Eric Dinowitz talked about one of our capital projects that we were very proud to join with the council member as well as our council member from the Heights, Carmen de la Rosa, and we were able to transform the athletic field at the Kennedy campus. If you have not had a chance to visit, ladies and gentlemen, it is absolutely gorgeous. The athletic field is brand new turf, a brand new scoreboard, LED lights. It's absolutely beautiful. And when we did the ribbon cutting, all of the football team came out, all of the athletes, the young ladies came out. It was absolutely amazing. It really brings tears in my eyes because it's long overdue. And every high school campus should have a modernized athletic facility. And I believe in that. And so not only at Kennedy, I'm also on other sides of the borough. I'm taking care of Taft. I'm taking care of Monroe. I'm working on Lehman this year, and then I'm going to get to Christopher Columbus. And we're going to make sure we take care of all the athletic fields. So Councilmember Eric Dinowitz and Councilmember De La Rosa, I did share with them because I was late because I had to finish my budget. It was due tonight, I'm sorry. But you'll be happy to know that I am adding money to Kennedy for the bleachers. So we have a beautiful athletic field and the bleachers are outdated. And we need a little bit of money, so hopefully I can partner with my council members and we can get the full funding, but I've already committed $500,000 for that. And I'm very, very proud. It's gonna look beautiful with the athletic field, right? And then you may remember a couple of months ago, we had an unfortunate incident outside the campus. There was a student that was stabbed. He lived, thankfully, but there were some hot spots on the campus where we're missing cameras. And I'm a firm believer in public safety and adding cameras where we need. So I'm adding $450,000 to cover all of the blind spots at the Kennedy campus and around the perimeter of the school. So that is something that I know is necessary, and I'm going to make sure that we have already put that in our budget. I know you have other budget priorities, but we absolutely are dedicated to taking care of all of our schools in District 10, because it really does make a difference when you invest in technology and upgrades to libraries and other parts of the district. It matters. I'm sure our captain, was talking about the 50 precinct, and we've been working very closely with him on some of the areas of greater concern that we've identified, particularly on warm days when lots of drivers love to come outside of our borough and come into our borough with loud music and heavy speakers and other things like that. And we've been doing a lot of special operations for that because we want to make sure that everyone has peace and quiet. I think quality of life issues don't always get the attention they deserve, but the NYPD did announce last month that they are adding a new quality of life unit in the department, but it's starting in the South Bronx in the 4-0. So the hope is over the next couple of weeks to add more officers to that unit, because they're dedicated just to quality of life, so they're off patrol, they don't answer the radio runs, and we want to make sure that all of our 12 precincts are covered. So that's something that we'll get a timeline on with our police commissioner and with our borough, and we definitely look forward to that. I want to also mention that we have a new initiative at Borough Hall called Future Forward Bronx. It is a partnership with the New York State Department of Labor. If you see what we're doing and what we have done, we're very dedicated to giving people jobs and careers. And I understand and know there's a difference between a job and a career. So I'm about career pathways. We've already had job career fairs dedicated to people with disabilities, to veterans. We've done focused on healthcare, social services. We really try to make sure that people have career pathways. That is the answer to poverty and a lot of the challenges that we're facing. We're also looking now to do a special career fair for young adults. And we want to target the youth that may be over age and undercredited. So they may be in an accelerated program, a D79 program, but they need work. They need jobs. And so our goal is to have this over the next several weeks with the Department of Labor, and it'll be at Borough Hall. Please make sure that if you do not get our emails, that you sign up. We do our very best to share information within our network, social media. We send press releases and advisories out. And you can always get emails from Kira as well in the community board unit. And so again, I just want to say thank you all. There is a lot going on right now, and I feel like there is a reason why everything is happening. It is the budget season. The state budget was just adopted, so we're looking at that to see the funding and the support that we're getting in the city, like summer youth, like universal after school and aftercare and childcare, which is so expensive. I know the governor talked very ambitiously about a rebate for working class families, and it looks like that passed as well. We have really been pushing with Assemblyman Jeff Dinowitz and others, Senator Gustavo Rivera, on MCHA llamas and helping them. Many of them are struggling today. The HDFCs, all of the co-ops that we represent, single co-ops, as well as the larger developments, need a lot of support. My hope is that HCR, the state agency, we have given them more support to really help. A lot of the challenges are very much common all across the spectrum, and the portfolio is related to insurance premiums that have been changing, and we have no control over that. A lot of our co-ops, their insurance premiums have doubled, and there's no justification for it. We know there's a lot of redlining happening across our city and the borough, so we're really trying to get a handle on the insurance industries. Rent arrears is also very high in parts of our borough. People are just not paying maintenance. Either there's a change in income, they're not able to meet the higher maintenance, and we're seeing a lot of that happening all over the Bronx. So what I would love to do is work with the housing committee and land use committee and focus on doing something very intentional and bringing in agencies like you have, NHS, Neighborhood Housing Services, Center for Urban Future, CUF. They do a lot of studies on neighborhoods and housing shifts and changes. We've met with some of the landlords and owners around our borough, and they are hurting too, but sometimes their voices are drowned out by tenants, and we understand. But we have a lot of landlords that have 5 or 10 units, not 10,000, but 10 units. And so their challenges are different from someone who has a larger portfolio, but they're all treated the same. And we need to figure that out because it really is not fair. And I understand, I've always supported tenants, right to counsel, everything I've done over my career, but I also know landlords need support too, especially when it comes to local law 11, local law 97, a lot of the mandates that have no funding associated with them, right? That's the real truth, they're unfunded mandates. I understand the intent and what we're trying to do with energy efficiency and sustainability, but I also know that if we don't give financial support, HDFCs and co-ops are going to sink. That's the reality. We are living in very uncertain times. A lot of our organizations and CBOs are getting notices because their is being cut from the federal government. The Bronx Zoo, Fordham University had a $50 million EPA grant, and the entire grant was taken away. And I just learned about it from President Tedlow last week when the governor came to the Bronx, and it broke my heart. Bronx Works lost a $5 million NIH grant that was based on research in the healthcare industry. They lost that. The culturals are being affected. There's a lot happening. And so I want everyone to understand like what we're dealing with here. So we need our partners in Albany and our partners in City Hall to do the very best. We can't make up all the cuts, but we certainly can look at adding more to the existing programs. So that's where you all come in, because the executive budget has already come out for FY26. The city council will start its hearings. It probably already has. And then we'll move to adoption in hopefully mid-June and not closer to July when the fiscal year starts on July 1. So we have a lot. All of my units are doing a lot of work. I'm doing a lot around healthcare and diabetes. I had a diabetes action summit 2 weeks ago. I'm doing healthy conversations with Metro Plus and St. Barnabas and Bronx Care. I'm working with H&H. I was at the hospitals last week celebrating Nurses Week. I know this is Teachers Week. We have a lot. But most importantly, I want everyone to know that we are working on your behalf. Everything is not perfect. We are not perfect people, but our job is to make life better, to show up, to engage, to partner, to invest, to make sure that we think outside the box. We look at creative ways of doing business because the old way does not work. My economic development arm of my office, BXCDC, we've been able to get money from the state. We got a $20 million grant for the Greater Morris Park community. That's wards 10 and 11. And we did that because we see a lot happening in that area in terms of economic development, Metro North, the site of our new Bronx STEAM School. A lot is happening, but we're looking all over. We're looking at Fordham, we're looking at University Heights. We know that not every neighborhood wants to change, so to speak, when it comes to development. We care about character of our neighborhood and the uniqueness that we bring, the historic places in our communities, but I also know that we have to be open-minded when it comes to development, both residential, commercial, supermarkets, upgrades to parks, to playgrounds, cultural institutions, libraries. All of that matters when you talk about neighborhoods. And so I try to be very balanced and not say, well, one neighborhood, I'll support a 20-story building, and another neighborhood, I'll support 5 stories. I don't necessarily want the 20-story, but I want everyone to look at development in a way where we can embrace it and we can shape it. So it comes to us in one way and we shape it to what we think is the best. Working class families, home ownership. There are too many people that are unsheltered in our city, and it's not acceptable. And many of them are veterans and they're older adults, and I cannot accept that. Someone my mom and dad's age are sleeping on someone's couch or in a shelter every night. That is not right. So I know we have to do our part as a borough, and we do, and we want to make sure that we're a part of the conversation. Because I sometimes feel if you keep saying no, 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 the city will push something on you that you really don't like at all. So I would rather work with them at the beginning and shape a project to where we think it could work and try to get as much support. And then we figure out a lot of the local provisions, the local jobs, the hiring opportunities, the MWBEs, any set-asides. What are we doing about investing in our neighborhood with supermarkets and all the other necessities that we know we need? So I thank you, Community Board 8. You can tell I am absolutely passionate about this work. I talk all the time because something is always going on. But most importantly, I know everyone has an expectation to be safe. And that is something that I take with great pride, knowing that we have to do better. There are many parts of our borough where we don't see the challenges that other communities see. And I understand that. And so I work with NYPD, I work with all 12 commands, I work with PSA 7 and 8, I work with the commissioner. We do all of this, and we want to make sure we keep doing that. We have new officers that are coming out of the academy, now working in the Bronx. We're working on the next class in July, so we want to make sure we get more support for that, but it is a lot. We are giving the NYPD a significant amount of money in this budget for cameras, while also giving a significant amount of money to sanitation for cameras to go after illegal dumping. I am not accepting that people come into our communities and illegally dump in our parks, on our streets, our sidewalks. That is not acceptable. And we've raised the fine from $1,000 to $5,000 because we want to make sure that we hold individuals accountable. That's one part of it. That's not the only part. And so I say thank you. If there are any questions that any of you have or any topic I've not talked about, you see me around the borough, I'm planting trees, I'm doing everything because we have some of the lowest tree canopy coverage in this city. The city average is 22%. The goal is to get to 30. Some of our community boards are less than 10. Not this board, but other boards. And I need to address that. I need to see more trees. I want to see 1% of the city's budget just for the Parks Department. So we don't struggle with park staff at Van Cortlandt Park and all the other parks we represent. We need to make sure that we have sufficient staff and lifeguards. We've been opening pools in many of our high schools, but we need to have lifeguards. So if any of you know someone that wants to apply, we are actively recruiting for lifeguards. We want to make sure that we give the Parks Department applicants that can go through the process before the summer is here. So I thank you so much for your time. Should you need us for anything, we're at Borough Hall, a phone call away, a tweet away, send me a message. I'm somewhere, and we'll make sure that we follow up with you. But thank you so much. And I hope everyone had a wonderful Mother's Day. Thank you so much. Many of you reached out to me. This was my first Mother's Day without my mom in the physical sense, but certainly she lives on in my heart and I carry her spirit, but I celebrate our mothers. I celebrate us every day because there's nothing like a mother. And I miss my mom, but I am filled with her spirit knowing that she left a legacy for me to follow. And I thank you for that. And if anyone's graduating this year, congratulations to the class of 2025. So excited to see our graduates. Can't wait till graduation starts. But thank you so much, everyone, for your time tonight.
Thank you for everything that you've done and continue to do. Your energy is always great. I hate to follow you. Does anyone have any questions? Jessica? Rashida Hilliard, right there, the housing chair.
Hi, thank you for being here. My question is regarding the trees, right? I'm hearing down the grapevine that our parks are being attacked by developers, saying that, oh, just throw a building on that. Explicitly like Van Cortlandt Park. And, I just feel like personally that we struggle to maintain green space in the Bronx, and I just want to, kind of empathize or try to figure out what the plan is to protect our parks and make sure that, yes, we understand we need housing and we need affordability and all those things are important, but it doesn't mean that like, yeah, we're going to build it in our green spaces. Okay, and then just making sure that that's the case, and if there's any plan that like to protect our parks.
So as far as I know, there is no plan, certainly in Community Board 8, to remove any parks and replace it with housing or any sort of development. There are rules and regulations in place. So if there was ever a proposal to build on parkland, there's a whole regulatory process you have to go through. That does not happen easily. There is a process you have to go through the city and the state. It's called park alienation. Like as an example, when we built the new Yankee Stadium in the South Bronx, that's on parkland. So the New York Yankees have an agreement with the Parks Department. The casino proposal in Ward 10, Ferry Point Park and the golf course at Ferry Point is on parkland. So if there were to be a casino on parkland, there would have to be a replacement of that parkland at the same value of what that land is today. So the developer would, let's say it's $100 million, that's the value to build on that parkland. That developer would have to replace that parkland at a minimum of $100 million. The administration is not looking to replace parks with development, but what they are looking at, and they have asked each city agency to identify underutilized and vacant space within their portfolio. So some of this vacant city land that you may see, could be owned by ACS or DYCD or DCAS, any one of the agencies. So if there were to be a proposal, in that land would have to shift to HPD for the purpose of building housing. But the city is now looking at libraries, not all, but if you think about Northern Manhattan and Inwood, remember the Inwood rezoning that happened years ago? So a part of that rezoning was a brand new Inwood New York Public Library, and on top of the library is housing. So there's one branch, to my knowledge, in the Bronx. It's in Community Board 4. And there is an existing library that's not in the best condition, and the city is looking to build housing on top with a replacement and a brand new library. But that's all. As far as I know, NYPL is the only agency that the city is looking at, but not the Parks Department. If anything, we need to preserve parkland. We need to add more staff and make sure that we can maintain our parks. Our parks are, some are in great condition, some are in not so great condition, and they're very, very expensive. I personally have also been working with parks because my next priority are recreation centers like Kingsbridge Heights Community Center and Scan Mullally, which is now Foster, and our little leagues. Oh my goodness. Pelham Bay, Castle Hill, Throgsneck, a couple of them that are, again, they're owned by parks, so there's a maintenance agreement between the Little League and parks, but a lot of the responsibility on operations falls on the Little League. They don't have the money to rebuild the whole park. We've been trying to do LED lights so they can save on Con Edison, which is another like way, but sometimes it's not parks, it's DCAS, it's a lot of different agencies. But I hear you, I agree with you, and as long as I'm borough president and I have a responsibility, any role in that, I will always make sure we maintain our parks. If anything, we should add more. I wish we could build new parks, we don't do that much.
Just following up on the parks, and I had mentioned this to you, the ribbon cutting, but we do have Bailey Park that yes, and the committee will be working on that because it needs vast improvements in Bailey Park. And the ribbon cutting, what you did with your assistance with Kennedy, the field at JFK, it is absolutely beautiful. And Farah and I forgot to mention that one of our past board members, Oscar Martinez, was instrumental in pushing the project along throughout the years, and so was the Education Committee. And you and the other elected officials did a wonderful job with JFK Field. It's beautiful. Does anyone else have any questions or comments? Crickets. Okay. Because you're very informative. That's why I don't like following. Well, we truly, truly appreciate you. Thank you very much. First, I want to thank all the board members and the public who came to our last month's community forum on knowing your rights, which made our community board meeting pretty pressed for time. Thank you for hanging in there. I can't believe we got all the business concluded, but thank you all for hanging in there. The board submitted a letter of support to St. Stephen's Church to congratulate them on their 200 years of continuous faithful ministry in the Marble Hill community. They will be celebrating with an anniversary luncheon on Saturday, May 24th, and in worship and fellowship on Sunday, May 25th. And our intern, I'll let Farah speak on it, but I just wanted to publicly recognize our intern, Deontay Duar. He finished his time with the board, and we appreciate all the work that he did. Does anyone have any questions for me? Thank you. I will go on to Farah Q. Lubin, our district manager.
All right, well, I do hope all of you had a happy Mother's Day on Sunday. I won't say what I was going to say because we talked about it a few times now, but I will say that Chair Reyes and I did go to JFK Field. It was absolutely beautiful. We do extend our deepest thanks to the Bronx Borough President, Vanessa Gibson, and our council members and all of the elected officials that put the investment into our community. And a heartfelt congratulations to our board member, Coach Oscar Martinez. for his lasting impact and advocacy on behalf of the students. Also last week, Chair of the Youth Committee, Ram Singh, and I had the pleasure of attending the New York Yankees Community Council Youth Leadership Awards ceremony. We went with the 5 awardees who were so deserving of the honor. We got a lot of thank yous from them. They had a great time. And I'm happy to say the Yankees won that night. So it was really great. And thank you to our awardees for making a difference in Bronx Community Board 8. I did hold my monthly district service cabinet meeting, and I will have another one in June before summer recess. I did attend a Bronx Borough Service Cabinet meeting, which had presentations from Citywide Event Management and SAPO office and highlighted the Bronx Week events from May 5th to 18th. And SAPO is happy to schedule a presentation to any of our committees if anyone would care to have them. I am going to skip over this. We do have our first tabling event coming up on May 18th, the North Riverdale Block Festival. We'll be tabling. Thank you to those who volunteered. If anyone still would like to, we will be there from 11 till I think 4 o'clock. Or just stop by and support the board. It would be great to see you. We also have another event, Riverdale Pride, on June 1st, and I will be asking for volunteers for that as well. Marble Hill Resident Council is hosting a shredding event on Saturday, May 31st from 10 to 2 at their community center. We put flyers on the table. If anyone would like to support the event, just let us know and we'll give you all the information. Thank you for mentioning Deontay. So I just want to thank our intern for his service. And I will leave it at that. If anyone has any questions, let me know. Thank you.
No questions? Okay, so we'll move on to.
I didn't mean to mention, although I'll say it in June, 2 things. We went to the Borough President's Appreciation Barbecue. Thank you again. And our own Constance Barnes Watson received a citation of merit, so we're happy to be there. Congratulations. Yeah. And then one other thing I can mention in June too, but we are going to do summer hours again. Artie and I discussed the best hours, and we're going to do the same as last summer, Monday through Thursday from 8 to 5 and Friday from 9 to 1. Thank you.
Okay, we'll go on with the committee reports and resolutions. We'll start off with the Aging Committee. Is there anyone reporting for the Aging? Barbara?
Yes, I can report the Aging Committee. We met May 8th. We had a presentation on Elder Justice Program of Shop VIP. This is a self-help multi-service agency. And they went through some of their offerings. We had several new budget requests, which we incorporated into our capital and expense priorities. Our next meeting is June 4th at the offices. Thank you.
Thank you, Barbara. Any questions, comments? Okay, the next 3 committees, so that you know, to get the microphone ready, will be Budget, Economic Development. If you could just raise your hand so Jayla knows where to bring the microphone. Economic Development and Education. So with the budget, I'll just report that the office and the Budget Committee and myself, we're working on the budget priorities. If anyone has any questions or comments, please contact the board office. The next committee is Economic Development.
The Economic Development Committee met on Tuesday, May 6th at the board office, and we have 3 New York City dining out applications, the resolutions, and we have 1 SAPO application. So I will start there. You all have the SAPO application for the Bomba Fest. Bomba stands for Bailey Avenue Merchants and Broadway Alliance. And they apply for the SAPO to close one street, 238. I'm sorry, Broadway from 238 to West 242nd Street. Does anyone have any questions? It's in the packet. So the committee approved this, and so I guess we need to vote on that. Looking around.
Make a motion. Cesar, second. Ramza. Okay. Any discussions? We'll take a vote on the resolution. Any abstentions? Objections? Pass.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion. I'd like to bring a resolution from the floor.
So you like to amend do you like to amend
the agenda?
The agenda to bring a resolution from the floor? Are there any make a motion? A second? Second. Any objections, abstentions? Okay.
I think
Bring the
everyone.
resolution.
Ooh, thank you, tons of paper. I think you all have the dining out resolutions as well. I'll start with the first one. For Early Bird Cafe, they are requesting to have a sidewalk cafe, similar to what they had last year. They submitted their application to Department of Transit, and we have it. And so our committee approves the two tickets for the sidewalk cafe.
Are there any questions?
No, separately. I'm doing them separately.
Excuse me? I'm listening to the chair who's
I
speaking.
could do them, but I think the third one, there may be some questions.
Okay, so on this resolution, any abstentions or any discussion?
Early Bird.
Does everyone have the resolution in front of them, the early bird? Any questions on it? Okay, so then we'll vote. Any abstentions? Objections? Approved.
Okay. Second one is Sheza Cafe. Similar, they're applying for a sidewalk cafe, similar to what they had last year. Economic Committee, Development Committee approved that one.
Any abstentions or discussions? Questions? So we'll vote. Abstentions? Objections? Approved.
Okay. Final one is Frida Tacos. We did have some conversation about this one. Farah and I were able to get in touch with the merchant to understand what they were presenting in the application because it was a little bit confusing. So with that clarity, we do recommend that this one is approved as well.
Farah says for the roadside cafe, are there any questions or comments? Please use microphone. It's right behind you. Jalen, can you give Constance the mic because she didn't need it.
What is the card that they provided about what they're doing?
They're only having one stand. It's not the one that they had last year. They will have a new stand. It doesn't infringe on any of the other establishments. So it's less tables than what we saw in the diagram.
It's gonna be a DOT approved setup.
I think Cesar and then Stephen.
Sorry, just a point of clarity. This is as dimension at 9 inches by 7 feet. Yeah, I was about to say, just want to point that out, I was like, just for correction. I think that we also have to do that for Sheza as well. Further.
Thank you, Cesar. Stephen?
Just a quick clarification, is this set up in the
in the street bed or is it on the sidewalk?
Constance?
Street bed.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Okay, so everybody's ready to vote? Any abstentions? Objections? Passes.
Thank you, and we will not be meeting in June.
Okay, thank you, Constance, and thank you for stepping up and taking the reins there. We go with education and libraries, cultural affairs, Sylvia?
Hi, I refer you to my minutes, which were distributed a few weeks ago. And my next meeting is on, May 27th. And, if my members are in attendance today, please come because I did not have a quorum last month. So, it's important that you show up. Thank you.
Thank you, Sylvia. Questions, comments? Environment and sanitation, Daniel?
I refer to the minutes for last month. Our next meeting is next week on Wednesday, May 21st. We're going to talk about Harlem River, packaging reduction, maybe DOT stuff too. So come. Any questions?
Questions, comments?
I know we have lots of more resolutions.
Thank you, Daniel. Marty, you let me know if there's anything on Zoom. Okay, thank you. Health and hospitals, is anyone reporting for health and hospitals? They're meeting tomorrow at the board office. Thank you. Housing, Rashida Hilly.
Hello, I'm going to send them to the side. So yes, I'll also refer you to the minutes, but I did want to bring something to your attention. I'm not like amending the agenda or anything. So we did have the Northwest Bronx Community and Clergy Coalition speak to us on April 28th. And the guest speaker was Julie Cologne. She brought to our attention this act that I'll just read a little bit about it. So in our committee, we were not really aware of this, but she raised awareness about TOPA, which is a Tenants Opportunity to Purchase Act. It was first introduced in 2021 under TOPA, in 2021. And under TOPA, tenants would have the right to decide what they want for their building before a landlord decides to sell it. So though the bill is still currently under consideration, there's a statewide campaign to galvanize lawmakers to get the bill passed. And the Housing Committee is planning to work on a resolution in the near future. We're not meeting in May, so be on the lookout for this in June. And thank you for the committee for also like supporting me, you know, and trying to get these issues to the forefront. Our next meeting is on June 23rd. And please come if you would like.
Thank you, Rashida. Questions, comments? We'll go to land use, Chuck Mertler.
Since the borough president is here, I'm gonna take these out of order. Do something once. I'm very, very pleased to tell you that the land use committee, which has been working together with the developer for a long, long time, there will be affordable. That means affordable for people who have the means that only people in areas such as Bronx can do. Not luxury housing, but affordable housing will be built 13 stories of it on Broadway. It has been approved by the land use committee unanimously at every stage. It is going to be 226 income restricted apartments, income restricted into perpetuity. And I cannot participate in the vote since I'm a member of the Developer Corporation. I have a hunch they will be approving the third. So this one is going to move along and move along fast. I mention it as a point because this community board has long worked to develop affordable housing. I stress the word affordable. Not all things that are called affordable housing are affordable for people. That's the point. Not the number, the fact that not really affordable. These are, and we are going to continue to work with developers to try and encourage that as much as possible. And I thank the Ackerman firm for all the work. Second, so I need a resolution. I can't do it, Marty. That's the vice chair.
Why don't you continue with, just as you did this one, that you recused yourself?
You have the resolution in the minutes before you, the resolution approving the application for this support.
Okay, so we'll, any discussion on 560204 Broadway? Jessica?
I know in our meeting, we mentioned, the building didn't have windows, or like a lot of them. Was there any updates or any renderings associated with additional windows in the building?
My understanding is that they are meeting with various meetings prior to call and be done. I have little doubt that they will do whatever. This is a good group.
Any other questions, comments for Sheila?
Just a quick question, is this going to be, I don't know if you mentioned it, a lottery-based, sort of situation, and if so, can I ask if this, like, do you know when that's going to happen, just to get that information?
Go through approval still. This is what happened here is, this is in a manufacturing district. Currently is a manufacturing district, so that in order to build housing and to qualify for the various assistance packages that are available to build such housing, they have to first change the zoning and go through the process. Unfortunately, it takes longer than it should. One of the things we ought to do is see if we can get city planning to try and do a better job. Try and do a better job of moving this stuff along. What is it, Cross Street? Cross Street, first. Talking about sites for housing. There are plenty of sites, dozens and dozens of sites. The issue is to make the buildings affordable. The city can make them affordable if it wanted to, by tax exemption for the pieces that go into a building, supplies, the bricks, the plaster and the rest. That's a saving for the developer who can do it. It's easily done, believe me, and I do have some experience.
Okay, any other questions, comments? So then we'll vote. We will vote. Any abstentions? Abstentions with cause?
Next resolution.
Wait, we need to vote. Abstentions with cause? Chuck, you're abstaining with cause.
I refuse.
Okay, and so then everybody else approves. Thank you. Next.
5051 Island Avenue. That's opposite the Villanova group of buildings over in Fieldston. There's an application to facilitate a new driveway so that the applicant has access. That's an incredibly dangerous area, corner. Across the street is the piece of property which will come to the Borough President's attention and yours in about 6 months. It's the Idelson home, which is closing down. And that piece of property will become something that we're going to have to deal with in terms of making sure it's used in an appropriate fashion. This is a house across the street, and the idea is to create a driveway so they can go out on the street properly.
Any discussion? We'll vote. Abstentions? Objections? Okay, so approved.
The next one is a Landmarks Preservation Commission application to construct a two-story and cellar horizontal enlargement of an existing individual landmark with exterior finishes to match the existing building. It's on Independence Avenue at 4695 Independence, and the project has been presented. It's not a big deal. Landmarks is approved.
Any discussion? Abstentions, objections? Passed.
All right, the next one I do have to. The next one and final one, I do have to recuse myself. Marty?
The next resolution is really on two layers. The most important layer is the fact that time after time, the community board has been stymied by the Department of City Planning and Department of Buildings, where individuals, residents call up and complain that work is being done, trees are being cut down, SNAT is being violated, and inspectors finally go out from DOB and they find nothing. The fact that a tree has been cut down and there's a stump, the fact that construction is taking place, they must come and find it actually happening. So a tree that disappears means nothing to them, and no violations, no fines. It appears over time that the Department of Buildings do not want to be bothered with SNAD enforcement and totally ignore their responsibilities under law to enforce that. I say that's two layers. Layer number one is this obvious concern of our not getting our coverage from the law that we deserve. The second layer is an example of what that is, and that is why Chuck is recusing himself. The most recent example is most recent example is at 355 West 246th Street, where all the things I just mentioned are taking place. Trees have been removed, new construction is going on, topography has been changed, and yet when the inspectors go out, they see nothing because nothing's happening in front of them. Pictures, and Chuck has tons of pictures. If you want him to share and pass them around, Chuck has pictures of trees that were there and suddenly are not there, of construction taking place that Department of Buildings don't know what, they can't tell what's going on. They apparently have a permit from the they have a permit from I can't find it here. From Landmarks Preservation, which has nothing to do with SNAD. And so they have violated DOB. They have violated construction concerns completely. And we have been totally ignored by those two agencies. So this resolution has two layers. Layer number one is we are distressed that the Department of City Planning and Department of Buildings have not lived up to their responsibility under law. And number two is this extensive demonstration of how, in this particular case, they have not, this house is being, the violations all over the place. Now, as I say, this is the latest example. We can go back and look at Chervier, when tree after tree disappeared. And when DOB came out to look, no cutting was going on while they were there. But there were trees that were missing, and there were stumps that were brand new, and there were pictures and there were movies of the operations going on, and yet DOB didn't see it actually happening, therefore it didn't happen. So that's this resolution. It's written out of frustration that agencies are not supporting our needs.
Thank you, Marty. Any discussions from the audience or on Zoom?
And there's one correction in the second line. The word it says have collective refused. It should be have collectively refused.
On this second.
First line.
Okay. Okay, noted. So we'll take a vote. Any abstentions? Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see you.
Does it have to be SNAD specific? It sounds like it's broadly enforcement.
Only agencies having any jurisdiction of SNAD under the zoning ordinance are the Department of Buildings, which can issue a permit allowing you to take down protected trees. It has to, however, have the input at least from the community board first. The other agency that has input into the process is the Department of City Planning. Process being community board, then buildings, then city planning. Those two agencies can do it. The only other alternative is lawsuits. This board has participated in the past to sue on SNAD. I've done lawsuits.
Any other questions?
This isn't a question, it's just, I missed the land use meeting and I'm sorry. But I just want to acknowledge support for this because you can't undo a cut tree. And if the city doesn't take it seriously, people are just gonna keep doing it. And then we're just gonna have to live with, you don't win at the end of the day, right? Like the tree's 100 years old and now what? Now somebody just illegally got rid of it. So I just want to express my support to everybody that this is important and it's not fair that we have to, kind of unring a bell. It doesn't work that way for trees.
Thank you, Jessica. So we'll take a vote. Are there any abstentions? Chuck with cause. Any objections? So approved.
Not want to mention it in the context of that discussion. This touches on an issue you spoke about. And that is, we are and have for years been a borough of trees, borough of hills, and a borough that is important. What is going on nowadays is an attempt to stop that. And I will tell you that there are two agencies that have not done their part in trying to help us. They are the Department of Buildings and the Department of City Planning. In fact, they sought to abolish SNAD so that you would have no protection at all for the Hudson River areas that are there and the greenway that we hope to have. We have situations in Van Cortlandt Village where they are cutting down trees, and Van Cortlandt Village will be bereft of trees at the way this is going. You have it all over areas that are seeking to avoid total gentrification by just having concrete all over and having it remain above. And Madam President, I must tell you, this is something that deserves your attention. It stinks. Let me explain to you why it stinks. The people who are building that building that we approved a few moments ago of affordable housing picked a place where they do not have to disturb a single tree, a single natural feature. And there are plenty of those up and down Broadway, up and down the highway, the major D, in a variety of places. I know, I was the fellow who gave you those 4 train stations on the Hudson River Parkway. My point to you is this can be done. SNAD is something that is essential if you want to preserve the environment, if you want to preserve nature for our borough. We are blessed. We are one of 2 places that has a natural area district. The other one is Staten Island. And so it is something I would urge your strong supporter to pay attention to. Young lady sitting to my left who works here knows more about it than anyone. So please. The last issue I have for you is, Marty, is there anything new on Van Cortlandt Village?
Other than that, what you've already expressed, our concern that those trees are gone already, construction is going on. I have asked, I've been in contact with our council member who is also having difficulty reaching the developer who just refuses to talk to anybody and merely goes along his way. The people of the Colton Village are really victims of this activity. And while the developer has property rights, he certainly also has communication rights and refuses to exercise those. People want to talk to him. He doesn't want to talk to anybody.
Thank you, Chuck and Marty. Okay, so we're gonna go on to law, rules, and ethics. Marty?
I have one resolution, the board office asked because of timing that we handle this, so we did last night. We had a presentation on a proposal to set up a Harriet Tubman Underground Railroad byway, which would run from southern Manhattan all the way to Albany and across to Buffalo. We had this presentation. There's an extensive resolution which that group brought to us and asked us to adopt, which we voted unanimously to do last night. There is no plan as of yet. What they are seeking to do is get together support across the state and bring it to Albany before the end of this year's session, which is why there's a rush. And we fully support their concept of identifying road points, historic points along the way. The only place it goes through Manhattan happens to be through Board 8, and the only way it goes through Bronx happens to be through Board 8. Although 5 Mile either way is considered also part of the byway. Along this byway, they plan in the future to have little signs set up by DOT indicating historic points of reference of where certain events took place. They are doing the research now, and as I say, there's no plan at moment. This is just a resolution of support, which they have gotten from various communities and cities and counties throughout the state, and they're still working on it to get the whole thing put together. So I bring before you this rather long resolution, which they presented and we adopted, and ask that the community board support this resolution to support their effort. And I note, by the way, that several years back, the board passed a resolution, and I was reminded by the chair of the Education Committee that way back we supported a resolution from council member at that time, Adonis Rodriguez, who was set up a task force to set up a freedom trail in New York City. We supported that, and this is the same concept, just that in terms of the Bronx, Board 8 is the only one that's involved at this time. So I have that resolution before you.
Questions or discussions on the resolution? Bob Bender? Thank you.
I just wanted to comment that this sort of thing does exist in some states to the south. And New Jersey is considering the same sort of proposal right now. So there would be a connection that would go from the southern states all the way up to the Canadian border, which is exactly the Underground Railroad Trail that so many self-emancipating slaves took to self-emancipate. So I'm strongly in favor of this, and I hope everybody else will be too. Thank you.
I think in their presentation, did they mention that it started in Humphrey State? The Maryland, yeah. Yeah, we started there. Okay, thank you, Bob. Any other questions or comments? So we'll take a vote. Any abstentions? Objections? It passes, Marty. Thank you. Okay, so then, Marty, that's it, correct?
That's it. In the interest of time, yeah.
Thank you. We'll go on to Parks and Recreation. Carol will do Parks and Recreation, and then Ed, you're up after that with Public Safety, if you have the microphone, and then Traffic and Transportation.
Parks and Recreation Committee, we met on April 23rd. We have a resolution in support of the SAFO for the New York Philharmonic on June 25th on the east side of Broadway. The production coordinator, Nathan Cabana, he came and met with us from Concerts in the Park of New York Philharmonic, discussed a request for a street activity permit to reserve parking spots on the east side of Broadway from 180 feet south of Mansion Road to the Turtle and the Hare statue on June 5th from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. There will be no impact to the bike lane. The security team will hold the spaces to prevent others from parking there. They have done this more informally in prior years, so this does not represent a net new loss of spaces on the day of the New York Philharmonic performance in McPortland Park. The resolution was approved unanimously.
Thank you. So is there any discussion for the June 5th event within Cortlandt Park? No discussion, so then we'll take a vote. Any abstentions? Any objections? Passes. Thank you, Carol. Is there any other item?
Yes, there was a discussion and vote on the resolution of increasing the Bronx street tree canopy. I believe Ms. Gibson discussed it.
Yes.
The committee received a letter from the Bronx Borough President Office asking for the support for additional funding in the New York City fiscal year 26 budget for the new street trees and street tree maintenance in the Bronx. The committee has long supported 1% for the parks initiatives and the planting of street trees. The following resolution was approved unanimously.
Thank you. Discussion, questions? So we'll take a vote. Any abstentions, objections? No one on Zoom? Okay, it passes. And is that your report?
That's my report.
Thank you. Thank you for giving the report. Public Safety, Ed Green.
Okay, Public Safety, we have 3 resolutions here. One, they're all State Liquor Authority applications. One is for a renewal for Bronx Ale House at 216 West 238th. Another is for an alteration for Tin Marin Bar and Lounge at 3708 Riverdale Avenue. And their alteration would be they're going to expand their business at 3708 to the adjacent storefront at the same address. And we also had an outdoor dining application from the same business, Tin Marin, and the Bronx Community Board 8 previously had passed a resolution recommending that DOT approve a sidewalk cafe application at this establishment, and the application was approved by DOT. So all 3 of these applications were approved unanimously by the Public Safety Committee. There were no issues with the 50th precinct with any of them. And I propose we take a vote on all of them together.
Any discussions on the resolutions? Take a vote. Any objections, abstentions? Okay, passes.
Okay, and lastly, our next public safety meeting is going to be on Tuesday, May 20th at the 50th precinct. It's in person only, no Zoom. And we are going to have a guest speaker from the New York City Sheriff's Office, specifically addressing illegal smoke shops in the area with question and answer. And we also are going to have an application for a legal cannabis place that is yet to be given a trade name, and it's at 3603 Riverdale Avenue. So if anybody wants to come out and tell the applicants and the committee what they feel about that, please come out. Thank you.
Thank you, Ed. 3603 Riverdale Avenue. It's no name yet. Okay, so we're gonna go on to traffic and transportation. Debbie Howland.
I'm gonna request, to have two resolutions from the floor. Madam Chair.
Okay, so she has a request to amend the agenda to add two resolutions. Are there any objections, abstentions? Okay. Go ahead.
The first resolution is Van Cortlandt Park South and Bailey Avenue Safety Improvement Plan Phase 2. They have presented to the Traffic and Transportation Committee 3 times. And DOT needs to get a response as soon as possible. Their construction date, they said their start date is May 30th of 2025. They did not tell us, the committee, this when they presented on April 17th, that they had a date. So now I'm bringing this before the community board. I'm going to read the resolution. The New York City Department of Transportation recommends its changes to the Van Cortlandt Park South and Bailey Avenue Safety Improvement Plan Phase 2. Presented by New York City DOT shows that Van Cortlandt Park South with the off ramps and on ramps are challenging for pedestrian, drivers, and bicyclists. Whereas presented by DOT shows that Riverdale has the most parks but lacks equity to access to Van Cortlandt Park and the Empire State Trail. DOT proposes changes to Van Cortlandt Park South and Bailey Avenue Safety Plan. Be it resolved that Bronx Community Board 8 supports the proposed recommendations of DOT for one, the off-ramp relocated and normalized the intersections geometrics, add stops control pedestrian crossing, legalize north ramp left turns to park, integrate old ramp into existing vegetative area, add a pedestrian walkway, slow right turn movement, so it'll be safe for passenger cars when they're driving and also for pedestrians. And also to maintain the closed slip lane, which the board had presented to them in a resolution, and they agreed to keep the slip lane. And they will also be adding a new connection for bicyclists to the park and to the Empire State Trail. Be it further resolved that Community Board 8 requests that the DOT contacts Bronx Community Board 8 at least 30 days prior to the implementation of any new changes in this proposal.
And I just want to add, we did ask everyone here to read this proposal twice, just to make sure you're very aware of the proposal and you can comment and vote on it you know, with some knowledge about the plan. So is that now a motion to?
And I just want to add one thing. There is full transparency with the Traffic and Transportation Committee. We understand that, you know, there was a lot of discussion. The public was involved. The presentation exceeded over an hour. And I think based on what we were told and what they said they were going to do, this is right for our community and will help us, you know, people to have access to the Greenland and make it safer for pedestrians to access.
I'm gonna also tag team with you on this and just say the reason why we all had an issue with closing that right turn lane, because we felt it would cause tremendous backup because there's 2 lanes there right now. But in this proposal, there will be 3 lanes. So there is a right turn lane, a 3rd lane. So there should not be the backup that we thought would occur initially.
Are there any questions, comments? Okay, so then we'll move to a vote on this. Any, Sergio? Oh. Any abstentions, any abstention, and Sergio? And this is also the presentation that Farah sent to all the board members at least 3 times. So abstentions, Ed, Sergio, and Ingrid. Are any abstentions for cause? No, okay.
Could I ask a question?
No, we're taking a vote, Sylvia. So there's a.
Well, I couldn't get unmuted. It has bearing on this resolution.
Go ahead, Sylvia. Sylvia?
Yes.
Go ahead.
I just wanted to ask Debbie that does this preclude our not having another meeting on this issue at T&T?
Yes, because it was presented that they needed a response as soon as possible, and the 15th wouldn't afford that.
And Sylvia, this is not the portion on Bailey Avenue. This is the first phase. Rather, they call it phase 2. This is not the Bailey Avenue proposal.
I understand, but it has the slip lane in it, right? Doesn't it?
They're going to maintain the slip lane.
Right, that's what Farrell just mentioned about when they make the right-hand turn, that the bus goes into a slip so that the cars can continue on.
I just don't want any possibility of disagreeing with DOT later because we have okayed this resolution. That's
Are you
my
voting yes, no, or abstaining? Sylvia?
What?
Are you voting yes, no, or abstaining?
I don't know what you're saying. Okay.
We're taking a vote, Sylvia. We're taking a vote on the very first one. Do you have the resolution in front of you?
Yes, I do. Well, on the screen, I didn't see it before. It was not in on my computer, so this is the first I see it.
Okay, so we're gonna move on. Who abstains? We have Sergio and Ingrid. Okay, Stephen. Okay, who objects? Everyone else approves. Sylvia, how are you gonna vote?
I'll just, yeah, I'll abstain.
Okay, you abstain. Thank you. Anything else, Debbie?
No, the second resolution is with Manhattan University Street. Originally, when they came before Traffic and Transportation, they said they were doing a renaming of the street.
but now they changed the language that it's co-naming, which is different in terms of the guidelines. So Manhattan University Street co-naming. Manhattan University is requesting to co-name Manhattan College Parkway to Manhattan College University Parkway, and whereas Manhattan College was established in the 1850s and has changed their name to Manhattan University on August 1st, 2024. Whereas Manhattan University has provided letters of support from the community for the street rename being changed. And whereas Manhattan University confirmed in writing that they will do the outreach to the community to inform them of their request. Be it resolved that Community Board 8 supports proposed recommendation of co-naming the street to Manhattan University Parkway.
Could I ask a question?
Okay, so I have the mic. My first question with this, because I would have voted no, but my main concern, what about the businesses and people who live there? Will they bear any expenses if the street name is changed? I was advised that if the street name changed to this, that they do not have to change their addresses.
Yes, so that is the difference. For the co-naming, they don't have to change the addresses. If they were gonna rename the street, every residence that has that address would have to change, which is why they're asking for a co-name. They don't want to inconvenience the community with the change of address.
Okay, Bob, Sylvia, and that's it. Brenda?
As much as I hate having to ask a question at this point, but so does that mean the street signs will change to, but okay, now I understand the co-naming concept. Okay, that's all. Thank you. Oh, you mean it's going to say both Manhattan College Parkway and Manhattan University Parkway?
We'll have to get back to you. I'm thinking that it's time. I've seen streets like that. Okay, so I'm gonna call on a non-board member who may know. Dario, are you? Okay, so we'll get back to you on that, and I'm thinking just a tiny name. Okay, Sylvia?
I just want to know if the office has gotten, the board office has gotten any indication that the outreach has been done?
Yes, it's in the resolution that Manhattan University has provided letters of support from the community for street name being changed.
So that was there for the
Mhm.
they received letters of support, but did they actually get? Did they notify?
One of the organizations, the Methodist Town is one of the letters of support that is on the Manhattan College Parkway. I think board members have it, the packet with the letters of support.
In the resolution, it states Manhattan University confirmed in writing that they will, at the meeting, you had asked them for proof that this says that they will do outreach to the community to inform them of the request. So they will. So then if they haven't given the office the letters to prove that they do the outreach, Manhattan University confirmed in writing that they will do outreach.
For the whole distance.
Yeah.
of Manhattan College Parkway.
But they haven't completed that yet.
Yeah, they're still in the process of doing it. They confirmed in writing they're doing it.
So then I would recommend that we hold this over until next month. Okay, so
Yeah, so
I was gonna,
in that case, I'm making a motion that we table this, even if it misses one deadline. But hopefully it'll be there another few hundred years, it will eventually be able to come back. So for that reason, it's missing this deadline does not seem to me to be an emergency that would press us to do this right now without full community input. So that's my motion.
There's a motion on the table.
Yeah, once there's a motion, don't we have to?
I had my hand up.
Go ahead. I didn't see you. I definitely would have called. What's your question?
And so with this community outreach, then they're saying will, are they only targeting, it sounds from what's being presented that they're targeting Manhattan College, Parkway.
The people who would be affected by the
The
script.
community is larger than that, and so in my view, I'm speaking about my view, that it should be talked about in the community, because these things happen, and the community is not aware of it. And so even though they have a direct impact, other members of the community are affected by it as well.
That's why Sergi did that motion, so that to give them the opportunity. And Bob Bender, did someone second it? But before, because I didn't see Karen's hand up, was there someone else's hand that was up? Laura? So you need the mic,
We're gonna have Manhattan College Parkway, and underneath it would be Manhattan University Parkway. Is that it? In other words, when you say code, you're gonna have both of them on
Well,
the
that's
street?
what we said, we will get back, because that's a question that was asked here, we said we'll get back, because we're
Whenever
all
there's a
good.
street renaming or.
This is a
about
co-naming. This is a
co-naming,
co-naming.
It's
Yeah.
always both.
Okay.
Anyway. Yeah, all right.
Okay, now I'm gonna start rushing, because now it's 9:30.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Dr. Wayne, you had a question or comment? Because we still have to go into executive session, and you have to be added here soon.
But I guess my question was about the clarification, because we, in the original traffic transportation meeting, when it was for renaming, the consensus was that we get the letter, that we get the full support of the street, of all those impacted. And I guess my question is, now that it has been changed to co-naming, if the threshold is the same.
Well, that's why we're not clear. That's why we figured let's lay it over for a month, so we have everything correct. Any other questions? Okay, so we're going back to the motion that we lay this over for a month. That you have a question? Okay, second, any objections, abstention? Okay, so that one's laid over for a month. This way, everything could be wrapped up nicely. We could support them knowing what we're doing.
Okay, and then, what's on the agenda are two, can't find my page, resolutions for Conchenta. I'm gonna, if allow me to just put together their roadway application and their sidewalk application together. The committee, did approve the applicant. Unanimously, there was no issues.
Okay, so we're gonna do Katrina. Any discussion, abstention, objections, so approved. The next one? That's it? Okay, great. And your next meeting will be on Wednesday?
May 15th.
May 15th.
This Thursday.
And then just for future notice, your June meeting will be held on June 4th, on Wednesday, June 4th, which is when normally we have an executive committee meeting, but because of the Bailey Avenue Vancouver Park South issue that was raised at the transportation meeting on the 17th, we're going to have a traffic and transportation meeting on Wednesday, June 7th at June 4th, Wednesday, June 4th at the Bailey houses, so that the community can be informed and engaged, and we do our due diligence. And the executive committee meeting will be meeting 2 weeks later, Monday, June 16th. And you'll be notified in an email, but I just wanted to mention that. Okay, any questions, comments? Okay, so we're gonna go on to the youth.
Hey everyone, good evening. We have a few things from you. The first thing I wanna bring your attention to is the resolution, which is in support of the Solutions Not Suspensions Bill, which is Senate Bill 134, Assembly Bill 118. Senator Robert Jackson came to our committee meeting in April, presented on this bill and has asked for a resolution in support. At our April meeting, we passed it unanimously. And the reason why Senator Jackson is asking for this, it's in support of his bill that's gonna be passed, but hopefully pass this legislative cycle, which is gonna end in June. Any questions about the resolution?
Laura?
Yeah, I have some concerns, namely that restorative justice is a very useful tool. I know back in the 80s when I was in the classroom, I was part of a conflict management program, so I definitely understand the usefulness. But some violations of the school conduct codes are so egregious and so disruptive to classroom learning that suspensions really do have a place. And I feel that the school to prison pipeline is less about suspensions and more about ability to read by third grade. So I think that there are steps, and like I said, it's a very useful tool. But suspension is essential in many instances and affects the learning of the entire class. So that is my concerns. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Ed?
Okay, so I have several objections to the proposed legislation that this resolution supports, and I'll list them very quickly. So disruptive students prevent other students from learning. And that's not fair to the kids that actually want to learn. Teachers cannot teach if they have a classroom full of disruptive students. And suspensions get students' parents involved and aware of their behavior problems, which is actually a good thing. And the reason some students should be suspended is because it teaches them a valuable lesson that disruptive behavior in a learning environment won't be tolerated. So I strongly oppose the legislation that this resolution supports.
Any other comments or questions? Yeah.
I was just gonna say, as a current teacher in New York City, I worked in 3 schools now, and suspensions have been used differently in every school. There are some, like RKA, I worked at RKA, students were not being suspended even though they were highly disruptive. Now I'm in District 6, and suspensions is being used, and it's mostly Latino Black students. So it's being used disproportionately from school to school, and the bill just is going to address it overall. So that way schools don't have where it's being implemented, from a school to school basis. Because schools get to decide which kids they suspend, which ones they don't. And I've seen now in 3 different schools how it's being used differently. And I fully support the Senator Jackson's bill.
Thank you, Rhonda. Cesar?
Yeah, I also want to speak on the fact that when we are only looking at when the only tool that schools are implemented is suspension, this is not saying that suspensions are gonna be as now like was in the bill. It is saying hey, we have to understand that there are other tools in the toolbox. So it's hey, you have disruptive students. Yes, if you suspend all of them, you get the situation, which is still possible that kindergartners can get 180 days of school suspension. If someone wants to tell me why it's possible to suspend a kindergartner for an entire school year, be my guest. But it is also just a fact that, hey, suspensions are not the only tools that should be in our toolbox. Yes, there are disruptive students. There are different ways to deal with disruptive students. I have had to work with a lot of disruptive students. throughout various jobs. And it is something that's like, well, what is the root cause of them? Is suspension actually tackling the root cause of them being disruptive? Or did you just suspend someone for 180 days and now they got to repeat? Now they actually have to figure out, especially with children, their parents now also have to figure out, hey, how am I going to take care of my child now? Because I would normally be working at this time. Now I can't be working at this time because my child is suspended. So that is one of my big things with this bill. But like, yes, it is about the implementation of the other tools as well.
Thank you. Okay, we had 2 for, 2 against, so we're gonna vote. We're gonna vote. We had 2 for and 2 against, we're gonna vote. Any objections? Raise your hand. Okay, those are against. Those who are for it?
I'll say the names. We have Wade, Dr. Wade DeBeetham, Debbie Allen, Steve Fruit, Cesar, Sebastian, Ingrid, Carol Blake, Bob Bender, Daniel Rowan, Ramdat Singh, Constance Barnes Watson. I see Karen Walker. Ashiva Hilliard. Jessica Sosa. Julie Reyes. And Margaret, are you? Okay. Is there anyone we didn't call on? And Sylvia, are you in favor? Sylvia?
I'm in,
you in
no.
favor?
Barbara Kale, I'm in favor.
Okay, Barbara's in favor. Marty, you gave you said a no. And
No.
Sylvia, are you in favor, against, or
No.
abstaining? What's that? Sylvia. Sylvia, can you hear us? No, Georgia's not here. Is Georgia here? No, Sylvia's here, but she's not answering. So, Sylvia, are you for the resolution?
Are you asking me?
Yes.
Sylvia,
3 times I said I'm not for the resolution. I'll explain why, because
no,
they
you don't
talk
have to
about,
explain, just a no. Thank you, Sylvia. We didn't hear you. Thank you, Sylvia. So she's a no. Any abstentions? Can we do abstentions? That's it then. Okay. Anything else?
Yeah, so the next thing is on the Comeback Kid Achievement Award. First, I know I got a few emails asking what's the difference between the Comeback Kid Award and the Yankee Leadership Award. The Yankee Leadership Award, we don't get to set the parameters. All we do is get to recommend nominations who Yankee picks the nominations and the awardees. So we only recommend the nominations and that's it. We don't have the parameters of how the award is set or anything of that nature. We just submit the nominees. Whereas the Comeback Kid Award, that's specifically for our board and we get to set the parameters of the award. Any questions, clarifying questions before we continue?
I just like to also say that with the Comeback Kid Awards, the ages are different. The ages from 12 or 13 to 24.
Yeah, and the Yankee, you have to be a graduating senior.
You have to be a high school senior for the Yankees, and then the Yankees, you also have to do 50 hours of community service. whereas the comeback kid is to overcome challenges. So, and the Yankees, you get $750. So why not help all kids of all ages? And the comeback kid, now it's not restrictive to centers, it's all kids within the community board.
That's correct.
So it's greatly different, the two of them. And it doesn't cost us anything. Okay, so who has questions or comments? Stephen?
I was just curious, how do we generate the recommendations to the Yankees for the 5 spots?
Yeah, so there's a deadline that the board has to submit their recommendations by, which was the April 15 deadline. So then we just promote the application and get the recommendation, the applications back, and then we take it from that.
I have no problem with it being the committee generated thing or administered. I'm just curious because I know the community centers traditionally, and in this case, it's all Kingsbridge Heights Community Center for the Comeback Kid Award. They traditionally have been the ones to put it.
No, so the Yankee
I'm talking about the Comeback Kid. I'm just making the distinction.
Yeah, no, so I'll talk about like how we're moving away from the community center focus in a little bit. So
We have 2 minutes because we're out of here.
okay, so we do have 3 nominations. The committee voted on these 3. It's nominee A, B, and C. I'm not gonna go through all of their thing. You have the application in front of them, and you're able to see how they've all 3 have overcome some level of obstacle or challenges in their life. However, to answer Stephen's question, if you look at the resolution, we are changing, moving forward. I know LRE has asked us to create some level of parameters and guidelines moving forward. So that's why you have a resolution in front of you. We are moving away from just getting recommendations or applications from community centers, because that's how it's been in the past. So we're gonna just move it to any young person at the age of 13, who has not had yet their 24th birthday. So now schools, religious institutions, any after-school program provider can also now submit students moving forward.
Any questions? So that answered. Wait, Stephen has.
Just ask as a factual matter, where did the Yankee nominations come from? I understand there was a outreach to the community.
The Yankee nominations came from a blend of schools and community centers in the district. It wasn't just community centers. We had RKA, RNH.
Thank you.
But the outreach is done the same way.
Mhm. It's why we redacted the nominators thing.
Okay, that's administrative stuff, so we can do that offline. Let's just stick to the agenda and move on.
That's it.
So you have a resolution in front of you awarding the Comeback Kid Achievement Award.
For, yeah, A, B, and C.
Okay, so are there any questions on the nominees? Or rather, on the youth that are getting the awards? Yes.
All together.
Right now, the resolution that you have in front of you, resolution awarding the Comeback Kid Achievement Award, the committee came up with 3 awardees, ABC. The 3 youth that they wish to give the award to, the committee, they did their due diligence. And these are the 3 kids that they want to nominate. Does anyone have any objections? Does anyone abstain? We're doing a vote now. No objections, no abstentions, so moved. Thank you. Now, can you tell us their names?
Yeah, so the awardees that will be getting their certificate at next month's meeting is Ayana De Jesus, Kiana McMillan, and Nora Aldalali, who they will be all getting their certificates at the June board meeting. So congratulations. And last but not least, our final and last youth committee meeting is next Monday.
Thank you. And I want to thank the committee for setting the parameters and letting the board know who or why we're voting for the youth award. Thank you. Okay, so we're almost done. Before we go into executive session, we have special committee on the Hudson River Greenway. Thank you. Spree, special committee on racial equity, Margaret.
At our last meeting, I just want to say thank you to everyone who contributed the activities that your standing committees participated and led this year. So the final interim report will be sent around in the next couple of weeks, probably by the end of May, and you all will see it. We'll capture what we have here and we'll pick up whatever is discussed in June, and then we'll advance that to the website. So thank you.
We have no report this month. We have not had a meeting. We are trying to get a date for June.
Thank you, Sergio. That was for the Veterans Committee. And the Irving Latimer. We don't have anything on that. You concluded last month. So nomination committee.
The nominating committee met on April 30th and May 8th. We interviewed candidates for the 2 open committee chair positions, budget and health, hospitals and social services. And we also interviewed some first-year committee chairs and some other members of the board who came voluntarily to talk with us. We are obligated to issue a report at least 2 weeks before the June board meeting, and we will certainly be able to do that. I don't anticipate any additional meetings.
Thank you, Bob. Old business? Any old business? Any new business? There's no miscellaneous. Our next meeting will be Wednesday, June 25th at Wave Hill. Thank you, Farrah. Okay, so we'll make a motion to go into executive session based on open meetings law 105F for personal reasons, personnel, financial reasons. Can I get a motion? Well, I can't make a motion. You make the motion, Caesar makes the motion. Second. Okay, any opposed, objections? Okay, we're going into executive session. For those on Zoom, we're going to put you in the waiting room and we'll be back in a few minutes with a resolution. Thank you. We're back. Okay, so we're back in session at 10:01. So everyone has a resolution in front of them. Is anyone in the waiting room? Yeah, Rhonda, Rhonda? You're so good, thank you. Sergio. Okay, Bob second, any objections? Okay, approved, thank you. Okay, so now we'll vote on the resolution. The resolution in part is to approve to give our Bronx Community Board 8 Community Coordinator to bring his salary to $82,000 as of June 13th, 2025. Second, and you second. Okay, any objections? Any abstentions? Okay, all approved. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so does anyone want to make a motion to? Thank you, everybody. Thank you.